Welcome to the Slasher Siblings podcast. Today we're talking about Midsommar. It came out in 2019. It's rated R. It's 2 hours and 28 minutes. It was rated 7.1 stars on IMDb. Did I say that right? Cool. A couple travels to Northern Europe to visit a rural hometown's fabled Swedish Midsummer Festival. What begins as an idyllic retreat quickly devolves into an increasingly violent and bizarre competition at the hands of a pagan cult.
Right, so I probably sound weird because I am sick this week, so just ignore that and we'll continue on with this.
So you stay over there.
I'll let Cicely do as much talking as possible so I don't sound like an idiot. You want to start?
Well, you have the notes. I do not.
Yeah, what do you think of the movie?
Well, okay, so I've only seen it one other time, other than rewatching it for this. And I saw it in theater for the first time, which was very freaky. Like, the whole movie feels like you're tripping on drugs.
There was a lot of tripping on drugs in the movie.
Yeah, I feel like whoever wrote this movie definitely was on drugs when they came up with the you know what I mean?
They
like
might have been.
No. I would bet money on it that they were. Like,
Fair.
that was freaky. I think it's freaky right from the get-go.
Yeah, pretty much from the start.
Yeah. Like, I feel bad for Danny.
Yeah, through the whole movie.
I feel bad for her the whole time. I really do.
There's not really a scene in the movie that makes you think, oh, well, maybe she deserved it.
No, she didn't deserve anything.
She just gets shit on the whole movie.
I feel bad that she's with the shitty boyfriend. I feel bad that her whole family died. I feel bad that she basically came on this trip to please people. And I feel bad. I mean, I feel like she's okay with being stuck there because she has nothing to lose, right?
Yeah, towards the end I feel like that too.
Yeah, like she's just okay with it.
Yeah, it seems like she has embraced the lifestyle of the Midsummer celebration.
Yeah, I think she fully started to embrace it towards the end. Which, I mean, if you can't get away, you might as well, feel like I'd do the same thing. I'd be like, alright, to survive this situation, I'm gonna join in.
Either succumb to it or go crazy. One of the two.
Yeah. What do you think of this movie?
I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, I've only seen it another time as well, other than rewatch it. And it took a while for me to watch it. Like you said, came out in 2019. I didn't watch it till last year, I think.
Oh, really?
And I really like this movie. It is a very good movie. It is very strange.
I'm surprised you waited so long to watch it.
Well, I guess it's fair to say that there wasn't like huge buzz about the movie. There isn't really technically still, but from my experience of watching Florence Pugh on Marvel movies, I was like, she's a very good actress. Maybe I should watch some of her other movies, and Midsommar was one of them. I think she was absolutely excellent in this movie. She's an amazing actress, and she did a fantastic job.
What was your first impression when the movie was over? When the credits rolled, what were you sitting there thinking?
When the credits rolled, I was like, what the fuck just went on?
Yeah, like, I remember I was in the theater, sitting in the chair, and I was just like,
what was that?
What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It wasn't exactly like a stand-up and cheer movie.
No.
It was definitely what did I just see?
It was like taking drugs without taking drugs.
Yeah, and it was a movie that I would watch again.
I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it again, but if somebody puts it on and they're watching it, I'll sit there with them and watch it. But I'm not going to like sit down on like a long day of work. I'm going to go chill. I'm not putting on Midsommar. I'm not.
No, I probably wouldn't do that either, but if I probably could find myself having the urge to watch it again.
Why is that?
Just thinking one day, oh, you know what movie I haven't seen in a little while is Midsommar. Maybe I'll watch it tonight.
Part of me was like excited to watch it again, just to be like, maybe I was too harsh the first time. Maybe I was like, okay, it's been a few years since I've seen it. I'll give it another go. Maybe I'll have a different opinion, but honestly, I don't.
Yeah,
that's fucked up. That movie's still so fucked up.
Yeah, I still think it is too. I mean, I have more appreciation for the movie than I did the first time. Like the Midsummer, festival and like the folklore and everything, and Florence Pugh's acting and all that other. Like, I have more appreciation for the movie than I did the first time watching it. But
Yeah.
I definitely still think that it's a strange movie.
It's definitely creative.
So
for
some of
sure.
the scenes I like the snowy tree landscape right in the morning, or in the morning, the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's a very cool way to see a movie like start out like giving you this sense of kind of like a dreary attitude, but also not so much. It's just like
Kind of like
a
setting
joy.
the whole vibe.
Yeah, it's kind of setting like you should feel a little bit happy, but also kind of dreary.
Gloomy.
Because I mean, it's hard to not be happy when it's snowing because Christmas is around. But it was at night, like it was dark, or it wasn't. I guess not completely dark, but
Yeah.
it was still dark. So like, kind of keep your guard. And I like that the phone calls between her and her boyfriend and her and her friend. It kind of showed you how differently the couple cares about each other, Danny and Christian, and Danny and her friend, because it shows that Danny and her friend are close. Her friend truly cares about her and her relationship and wants to help her through it. And then Christian just almost seems like he just can't be bothered to try and help.
And it made it seem like he thought she was a chore.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is super annoying.
Also, I didn't really care for it because it's kind of a messed up scene, but like it was a good way to immediately start how heavy you're supposed to feel watching the movie. Is the suicide and murder scene
Yeah,
where
that
she
was
kills
really
her parents.
intense.
That was intense, yeah.
I've never seen anything like that on a show or a movie. With
And
like
to get
the
that so
garage.
quickly too.
Yeah.
Like that was really
It's like, hey, guess what? This movie's gonna be fucked up.
This is how you're supposed to feel while you're watching it. And,
Yeah.
Florence Pugh's acting in that scene too, of her crying. It sounded like real crying. Like there's actors cry in movies and they kind of have to force it, but
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Like when she has like panic attacks in the movie, I get that. I understand that, but it feels real.
It
like
felt real.
She made it feel very real. Yeah.
Like I obviously don't know her personal life, but it definitely made it seem different. She did it differently than most actors would. You see the crying scenes and it kind of seems fake when they cry, but like this one,
she's got it down.
She was crying and like she was like hard crying. She was like that coughing kind of noise. Like that just doesn't happen when you fake it, So
maybe she's had some trauma.
Yeah, I'm assuming she used it, but actors do use trauma to do their crying scenes and stuff, but like
I could cry right now if I had to.
I can't
Do you want
begin
me to?
No.
Okay.
I can't begin to explain what made that so different than a normal crying scene, because that was just amazing difference. I get the feeling that like he's not even trying to help talk about anything. Like he's just kind of like
going through the motions.
So after they go out with the friends and they said about going to Sweden, and she shuts the door and she goes, "So when did you decide to go to Sweden?" She was, in my opinion, from the dude's perspective, being very cordial about it. Just like wanting information.
She's being way more calm than I would have been. I'd have been like, what the fuck?
She would have reasonably been able to just get mad at him,
I mean, that's something you share with your partner.
Not only that, like, I could see, okay, maybe you decided to go, like, on a trip and you didn't say anything until the last minute. But you're going, like, a different country.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to fucking Ohio.
For a weekend by yourself or with a couple friends.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Well, I don't know where
difference.
this movie takes place. I forget. But, like, it's not like just a trip down the street.
No.
And just to be
Quick
like, oh, well,
trip.
I just now decided. Like, that, she was being very calm. And he didn't even seem to try to talk about it. It was more so he was just like, oh, yeah, well, why are you getting so mad?
Then
like,
he
she had a
invited her
right to
out
be
of
mad, and she didn't.
Whatever. Right?
What?
Then he ended up inviting her, and she went.
Yeah, that's the next thing I have written down. These couple scenes I don't quite like the suicide, the not talking, and the I invited her. So that's all I have written down is I invited her. That line in itself, I mean, he's an excellent actor to portray it the way he did, but the I invited her just makes it seem like forced, and for you to have to tell your friends, hey, I invited her, pretend like you guys told me to, or something like that.
She's probably not gonna go.
Yeah, that whole scene was like I
irritating.
said, good on them for making us hate that scene, because the true, talent in acting is if you can play a villain and make the people hate you.
Yeah, I agree.
But it was like, oh, I invited her, she's not gonna go, just pretend like you wanted her to. That's kind of fucked up, dude.
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
shitty.
That is shitty.
So back to something I do like was the upside down camera.
Mm-hmm.
So they're driving down the street and it's like viewing them from upside down.
At first I thought my phone was
fucked up.
Upside down.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
And then you turned it back and it was still upside down. No, I really liked that scene because it made it seem like at this moment that the camera turns upside down, their world just turned upside down.
Yeah.
Because from that point on, there was no turning back. It was a complete 180 from what they were normally into. So instead of having this normal life, it was completely flipped upside down. Like the camera. I really liked. That's what I got from it. So I really liked the way that was done. Mark is a terrible trip partner.
Mark's just terrible.
He was a shitty character.
Yeah, I like the actor though.
The actor's really good,
but not the character.
But he's a very bad trip partner. I would not want to be on a trip with him because he's all like, "I need you guys to lay down. Everyone lay down." Like that whole part, I was like,
"Yeah,
just shut the hell up and do your trip on your own. I don't need to lay down with you."
Yeah, no.
We don't need a group of 30 people laying on the ground because you want them to. Like, I get some people react differently to that kind of stuff, but like, dude, settle down. You're being annoying. So they show up at the town. I really liked this because it was a bit of foreshadowing to the rest of the movie. When they show up to the town, their different reactions to the town seem to give away what's going to happen to them at the end, because everyone in the group except Danny was very weirded out. You know what I mean? Like, they were very like confused by what's going on, and Danny was really happy to be there. So the difference is that Danny ends up being very happy about being there, and she ends up being the one to live and to stay there, and then everyone else dies, and they were the ones that were completely confused and weirded out by the town or village and everything else, right? Okay, back to something I didn't really care for, and we weren't supposed to like it, but something I didn't care for was he forgot that it was his girlfriend's birthday.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, the sun messed me up."
Like, that was that was a lame ass excuse.
Lame.
You just straight up forgot that your girlfriend's birthday was today. The sun didn't go down and you went to bed, so that means when you woke up it was the next day. And there was that scene that he was talking to Pele, and he literally told him, we know that he told him because we saw it, but like, it was more of like, we know that you didn't remember, and it wasn't just the sun didn't go down, it was like you completely forgot about it in general.
You could tell he was gonna forget about it.
Yeah. So something I found strange was the love story, and what I mean by that is the one on like the quilt.
Okay.
That was like stitched. It was like, so like, it was started off okay, normal love story, and then it got to the pube cutting scene and everything like that. I was like, that's kind of strange.
Yeah.
And that was also another foreshadow because that ended up happening.
That happened with what was his
name?
Christian. Yeah, that's gross. First of all, he finds a pube in his soup.
No, it was a meat pie.
It was a meat pie. Okay.
Whatever it was, either way.
Either way, that's disgusting.
Yeah, so I do like the first ritual, as in like the way it was done and written. And the first ritual, just so you know what I'm talking about, is when they jump off the cliff.
You like that?
I liked the way it was done. It was very intense and like...
That's the worst part of the whole movie for me.
So everyone doesn't think I'm a weirdo here. Let me explain a little bit. Is that I like the shocking nature and how you didn't see it really coming. They were up at the top of the... If you watch it a second time, you know what's coming as soon as you see that beginning. Like, you were right there with Christian and Danny and the other people. You were thinking, they're just doing a ritual, and then all of a sudden he jumps off the cliff. I was completely shocked. I was like, what just happened? What just went on? And I like that it was done that way, because it left you in a sense of being completely shocked and not knowing what was going to happen.
I thought it was very graphic too.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
smashing the head after he didn't die.
That was rough. Now, what would you even think if you saw that? I probably wouldn't talk like Danny did. I'd probably just stand there and
have a panic attack.
Yes.
I don't know, honestly, what I would think.
And I felt bad that she had to see that because, like,
Yeah.
she's dealt with all this shit. Then she's coming to this little, like, they probably thought it was some sort of, like, retreat, good time, festival. And then that's the first thing they see.
In this, like, happy, upbeat festival that they were supposed to have. Back to a scene that I didn't like, again. And not that I didn't like, but it was more so, like, that I didn't care for, was the thesis.
Yeah, but he wanted to copy his thesis.
Basically copy it. I get that he wasn't doing his thesis on the actual town itself, and I get that, but it was basically the same kind of subject.
Well, he didn't even think about that until he got there, right?
Yeah, he didn't even know what it was. He was hoping he was going to find it on the way there. Which, in all reality, technically he did, but...
I think the other dude was, like, already at his mindset that he was doing his thesis on this, so I think it was kind of unfair that Christian was like, oh, me too, bro.
I'm open to collaborating. It was his idea first, so he should be open to collaborating, not you. It just kind of shows that Christian was a dick in this movie.
Yeah, I definitely didn't really like his character.
Pele was always sweet to Danny. I liked this part, but it was kind of like a foreshadow to, like, which member of that group he wanted to win May Queen and live as they lived. You know what I mean? He was always trying to talk to her and help her. Yeah, he made it seem like he was in love with her, but it was more so, to me, more so of, like, keeping her happy so she wants to stay in the village so that they can, you know, increase their numbers.
Yeah, he was definitely just trying to set her up.
I don't see it as a setup as so much as, like, I want you to stay here and be happy, so I'm gonna make you happy at every turn that I can.
Okay.
And maybe he did love her, I don't know, but I saw it more as, like, I want Danny to be the one that actually stays and not be sacrificed in the ritual. I want her to be part of this village.
And he probably thought, well, he already knew her past trauma and everything, so he probably thought, well, she's got nothing else to lose.
That too. That's a good point too.
She might as well just stay here.
Another scene that I guess I could say I didn't care for, even though it was a well-written scene, was the dream.
When they leave?
Like, yeah, when they leave and, like,
God.
the exhaust is coming out of her mouth, like, that's such a
ooh.
like an unsettling, you know.
Could you imagine though, going somewhere with a bunch of people you didn't even want to go in the first place, dream or not, you wake up and they're leaving?
Yeah.
I would shit my pants.
And, like,
I would start screaming. I don't know how she didn't. I would literally scream if this happened to me.
Well,
at
she
the
tried
top of my
screaming
fucking
in
lungs.
the dream, and then the exhaust fumes came out of her mouth.
I would have jumped on that car and started beating the shit out of the driver.
But another thing that makes it unsettling for me is the fact that her sister killed herself and her parents with exhaust fumes from the car, and they were coming out of her mouth when she was dreaming.
Yeah, that was definitely little nightmare.
Yeah, like that was pretty unsettling. And a scene that was, like, kind of confirming that Mark was an asshole was that tree scene. I get it. It was a tree that fell over and it was dead and whatnot, but, like...
Did he really have to piss on it? Well, here's another thing. They should have told him.
I guess so, but they have bathrooms, do they not?
Did you see a bathroom?
I'm pretty sure they're not just going out into the woods and pissing and shitting in the woods.
I didn't see one potty.
Well, that probably wasn't the focus of the movie, sis.
I get it, but I didn't see one bathroom, bro.
In at least one of the buildings, there had to have been a bathroom.
I didn't see it.
Not to mention, when they burnt the two people that jumped off the cliff, they put their ashes around that tree.
Yeah, that's probably what they do with everybody that dies like that.
But why would he think to pee on ashes?
It probably just looks like dirt.
And also, why did he pick that tree? You wouldn't want to go further into the woods or something?
You think boys give a fuck?
I wouldn't want to be out in the open like that.
It's Mark. Mark doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, Mark doesn't care. But I was like, dude, what the fuck's wrong with you?
He definitely didn't read the room, but they should either...
He didn't read the room. That's what I was trying to say. I just couldn't think of the right terminology.
Should have probably been like, hey, everybody. Hey, welcome. This tree's really important. Don't piss on it.
Don't pee on it.
Exactly.
I have the feeling that everyone, other than Danny, which is another foreshadow, and even including Pele's brother's friends. That couple that came.
Oh, yes. I feel bad.
I feel like every one of them was, like, disrespectful in some way. And
besides Danny?
Besides Danny. Danny was the only one. Yeah, it's kind of another foreshadowing that all the people that were being disrespectful in some certain way died.
I do understand why the guy started freaking out, though. Because the two people jumped off the cliff and he started tweaking.
Oh, yeah.
I get that.
I get that, too.
I would
but
totally
for
do the
him to
same
be,
thing.
like, cussing at people...
Yeah.
That was a little far.
I guess if you can't handle the, like, culture shock, I guess don't go.
I wouldn't be cussing at people and pushing people.
No.
At the ritual, I'd be kind of fucked up by it, but I wouldn't be like
freeze. I think I'd go
like what Danny
like
did.
that. Yeah.
Not like screaming at people.
No.
Like, this is...
Some people don't know how to.
But that
how
wasn't
to
the
keep
one
their
I was
cool,
specifically
though.
talking about, though. I was talking about how, like, Mark peed on the tree and Josh going in and reading the Ruby Rotter, their book, even though he wasn't supposed to. He was taking pictures of it.
Yeah, that was very disrespectful.
Christian, you know, like, didn't even try some of the things.
What
And
a-
I get it,
what a-
like, that's not your normal, you know, situation. But if you go somewhere for a celebration, you should at least get involved in the things like Danny did.
Yeah,
Like, she
I
was
agree.
wholeheartedly, 100% into the celebration. She tried everything. And that's also another foreshadow as to why she ended up living, you know. And then,
What about when they like took Mark's face?
and skinned him.
Yeah.
That was another one. They were playing a game called Skin the Fool.
Oh.
Mark-
Oh.
Mark ends up getting skinned. That's kind of like a creepy foreshadow there, too. I didn't have that written down. You made me think of that.
That part's freaky.
Back to oh no, not yet. Another like foreshadow was when they were eating dinner. It was, I don't remember what dinner it was. It was before the meat pie. Christian's drink was darker than everyone else's.
Yeah.
She put her period blood in it.
Ew.
Remember? The ritual was he needs to drink a drink with her period blood and a pube in their food.
Oh.
That's their way of saying that they're in love and they want to mate. And his drink was darker at that dinner.
Okay. Didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Another, go back to a scene that I did like is that May Queen contest, like the dancing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I really
I like that
enjoyed that
scene
scene a lot. Kind of seeing Danny open up a little bit. I know that she drank the drink and was kind of tripping, but like it was nice to see her like open up and
Kind of enjoy
join in.
yourself.
Yeah,
for the
enjoy
first
yourself, open up and join in the festivities and stuff. And then I also like the subtle shot during the May Queen contest, the dancing. There was a subtle shot of Danny's face at the very end when she's smiling. There was a quick half a second glimpse of it, and it kind of, to me, makes it seem like she's starting to become, or like starting that journey to be what she turns into at the end.
time. Yeah, like
And-
she's alright with it. so.
Yeah, she's starting to be okay.
Honestly, if that shit happened to me, like if you killed mom and dad,
Wow,
if you killed mom and dad,
that's harsh.
not that you would, I'd go crazy. I think
Yeah.
I'd run away to a cult and be like, "Hi guys,
Yeah.
I have 2 dogs and 6 cats.
Can they come with me?
move in?"
This is where the movie starts to get really strange. So there's strange scenes throughout the movie. But it's like from this point until the very end where you see her face, because I really like that shot of her smiling face, is just strange. Is the whole mating scene
Oh my god.
and then the flower dress and all those scenes, like the whole rest of the movie pretty much is where it gets really strange for me. Because it's like Christian's in like this trance and like can't break out of it and goes
Yeah.
and mates with the girl. And then the whole scene with her like crying over it was kind of strange. And I get why she was upset. But it was like the way the girls were like chanting, you know what I'm surrounding and chanting
the
with her.
lady pushing on his butt.
That was strange.
That was like,
Really weird.
okay.
And then like
All right.
everything going into the sacrifice scene, cutting the bear open,
Yeah.
taking the organs out of the bear, putting them in the bear,
That's so freaky. When
taking
he's in
everyone
the bear,
into the pyramid.
I don't like that scene.
And then you see all the different bodies. Oh, after the mating scene, he's running and he runs into like different body parts. Like
Yeah.
he found Josh's leg.
Yep,
And
sticking on the
then
ground.
that guy who with that girlfriend was
Yeah.
strung up.
Yeah.
And like his lungs were still breathing, and
Ugh.
that's so strange. And then
At least they hung him up with flowers.
true.
That's
And then
nice.
the scene where they're all putting them into that barn pyramid thing, just one by one, you see all the dead people. The 2 guys volunteering to be sacrificed, and them lighting the barn up and everything. Like that whole section of the
scene.
movie is so strange to me. Is why
Yeah.
I think the movie's a strange movie, but I like it a lot. It's a really good movie. And my final scene that I really enjoyed was the shot of her smile and it purveying to us that she's accepting of this new family. Like she's come into this new family and she's okay with being here, maybe for the rest of her life. I really liked the symbolism of that scene, that she's fully, you know, kind of turned a new leaf.
Uh-huh.
She's accepted her past and everything that's happened to her, and she's letting go of the grief and finding this new family and friends in ways of this village. So with those scenes out of the way, do you have anything that really stood out to you, or did we cover everything?
I think we covered everything.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, like, when you're watching the movie, you feel like you're in a different world.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know what I mean? And you're just like, oh my god, thank goodness I'm sitting here in my living room and I'm not in this movie right now.
Yeah. So the things I liked about this movie is the feeling that it had the whole movie, of this like heavy weight until that final scene where it's finally lifted. Because that heavy feeling is kind of lifted at the same time Danny accepts
Yeah.
everything and gets over her grief. Florence, of course, she's amazing in this movie. She's an excellent actress, and I really like the writing. I looked it up, and it was actually pretty accurate. And what I mean by that is that it's pretty accurate as to the ritual part. Like, no one jumps off of cliffs, and no one gets sacrificed every year or anything like that. But like the celebration part is completely accurate to like the real Sweden Midsommar, I guess.
Yeah.
I obviously don't know, but as from what I did in research, it seemed like everyone was saying that it was pretty accurate. So I have instead of calling it trivia now, I have a friend from work who we were picking on because one of our friends called things like fun facts. So now just for him, even I don't think he's gonna listen, but just for him, we're gonna start calling them fun facts instead
I like
of trivia.
that. Fear facts.
Fear facts. That's even better. So fear facts for this movie. Right in the beginning of the movie, you see it's right after the tragic death of her parents.
Mm-hmm.
You see a picture of Danny on their nightstand. There's a flower crown around it. It's something that you have to pay attention to or you won't catch it.
I have to go back and look.
So, do you remember how Pele's parents died?
I don't remember what he said. All I knew is that they died.
He said, I lost my parents too in a fire. Watching the entire movie, what kind of fire did they die in?
Oh.
They volunteered themselves to be part of the sacrifice.
Interesting.
Like Pele's brother did and that other guy. There's another kind of foreshadow, even though I said there were a couple of foreshadows, but this one is a blink and you'll miss it, so fear fact. So there's a scene where Danny's laying on the bed. It was after she had that really big crying fit. She's laying on the bed facing the wall. There's a painting right above her of a girl and a giant bear. And watching the entire movie, Christian gets turned into a bear basically while she's still the girl, so it's kind of like a foreshadow. An actual fear fact is that in most of the movie, a lot of the subtitles aren't existent because they wanted that disconnect for the people who don't speak Swedish. So English speakers like us were supposed to feel
like
left
what's going
out.
on.
Like, yeah, you weren't supposed to know exactly what they were saying. That's why they don't subtitle all the movie.
Okay.
So
you're I think there's some translate.
There are some
parts that translate.
But that's supposed to be like Danny's picking up a few phrases. We're supposed to pick up a few phrases. It's not until the end that she actually understands Swedish to a point to where she can know what they're saying after the whole dancing.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cute little moment.
Yeah. So the whole reason that they don't subtitle the entirety of the movie is so that there's a disconnect between the audience and the movie. Fear fact number 6, I think. 5 or 6. I'm not going to count them. The shooting went on from May 18th, 2018 to June 18th, 2019. So 13 months of shooting, making it a very short shooting process. They did pretty good for just over a year of shooting. For the next one, this movie was announced immediately after Hereditary by A24 Movies.
I think I remember that day. Like after it came out? Hereditary?
Immediately after Hereditary came out.
Okay. So I was like, oh my god, another one?
They announced
another movie that's gonna fuck my brain.
A24 makes excellent mind.
Hereditary is so scary.
And we're gonna be doing that pretty soon.
I'm not prepared.
We're not
for
gonna.
That. We gotta watch that together. I'm not watching it alone.
All right. Danny's last name Ardor in Latin means flame or fire. So it's kind of like another foreshadow thing. And my last fear fact for this episode is that if you notice, none of the natives eat in this movie. So all of the Swedish people during the festival, they never do eat, and all of their meat is usually rotten if you really pay close attention. They are never actually eating. Aside from Christian taking a bite of his meat pie, you never actually see anyone eat food.
So they just sit there and
pretend, I guess. I'd need to do more research and find out what all that entails, like why the natives don't eat. Maybe they're drugging the other ones or whatever, but it seems like that's a pretty cool thing. If you watch it a second time, you'll notice that no one around any of the dinners is really eating. repeating, and I want to
Interesting.
do more research into find out why.
I'm sure there's like a million things that people noticed that we didn't.
Yeah.
And like there's probably like a million little things that go into the movie. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
feel like this
Yeah,
could
no,
be
there-
much. There's a lot more to talk about.
I definitely don't catch everything that a lot of people do. I'll watch movies and then like 10 years later, people are like, "Oh, did you catch this?"
Nope.
No, I've seen that movie like 400 times and never want to see that, but now I can't unsee it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that 7.1 is way too low for the directing, the writing, and acting in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very strange movie. It is
Very
extremely
strange. I think it got the job done. I think it
It absolutely did.
it
made
did what
you
it was supposed to do.
made you scared, creeped out, heavy,
Yeah, definitely a heavy movie. It's not something I'm gonna put on like
just
before
because I'm
bed.
trying to wind down.
Yeah, no.
So I would give it an 8.5, 8.5 out of 10. My personal opinion. I feel like that 7.1 was way too low. What would you give
I'd
it?
say the same. 8.5.
I feel
Not
like
exactly a 9. Not a 10 in my book, but very, very good movie.
all the little details, the writing was excellent, acting was excellent. Everything about this movie was very, very excellent. It was just more so I felt very strange during the movie.
I remember every time I watch it, I kind of just sit there with my eyes wide open.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on?
So that about wraps it up for this episode of
I would-
Midsommar.
Definitely only watch that movie sober. I mean,
Yeah.
I have only watched it sober, but I don't recommend anybody like
Getting drunk and
drunk
watching this
and
movie.
watching that.
I wouldn't do it
I
either.
wouldn't do it. Just saying. Just some words of wisdom.
You already see enough while you're...
Yeah, like that has to
drunk.
be so scary.
So for our next episode is going to be The Conjuring.
That's such a. I love that movie.
I really like that movie. We're kicking off November with some, Thanksgiving revolving movies. I know Edward Scissorhands wasn't technically Thanksgiving. I think they had Thanksgiving in the movie.
Did they?
No, it was Christmas. I was wrong. My bad.
Yeah, it was Christmas.
Anyway, The Conjuring is, I think, during Thanksgiving, isn't it? Probably not. Now that I think about it, I think
Actually, probably not.
I think we just went with movies in the horror genre for the first three, but
I feel like
after
this
The
is like a
Conjuring-
classic, though.
it is.
A newer classic. It's not like a classic, but
Yeah.
in my book, it's a classic.
After The Conjuring is a movie called Blood Rage. That one actually does take place during Thanksgiving. That'll be the first movie on this entire show that neither of us have seen.
How do you know I haven't seen it?
We
I'm just
stated
kidding.
this
I
already.
haven't- I
We
haven't
made
seen
these
it.
decisions
I
together.
was just messing with you.
So neither of us have seen it, and it'll be the first one, but we're going to be doing that a lot more once the holidays are over. We want to kind of stay things that we know.
Yeah,
Kinda
and then
stay
dive
in-
into the unknown.
Exactly. We want to kind of take that journey together after the holidays. Kind of stay with movies that we all know and
Uh-huh.
love, and then go into more obscure and recommendations and stuff. Like we said, probably the last 2 episodes or 3 episodes or something, so we don't need to go into it again. But
Yeah.
next week, join us for The Conjuring. We both really enjoy this movie, seen it a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty excited to...
I love that whole series.
Yeah,
Like that whole
yeah.
world.
There's 4.
Well, I think Conjuring's connected with like Annabelle, The Nun,
Yeah,
Insidious.
that's what I mean. I think there's like Insidious too. So there's like 15.
That's what I'm
But-
talking about, right?
No, but
Pretty sure they're all the same, like.
I think they're the same universe.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
So yeah, we really both enjoy that movie. We're gonna delve into that more next week. Thanks for listening. Leave some ratings.
Thank you.
And tell everyone about it, and we'll talk to you next week.
Catch you later.